Today's third video for you is firstly, we have a new story from Somalia. Turkey has suspended flights to Mogadishu. What is the reason behind the suspension? While Somalia's newly elected president Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud could visit US in the coming days. Is Turkey not happy with the developments, political developments in Somalia? Second news story is about General Tefera Mamo missing for the last 2 days. His wife Manon Hello has appeared on some news channels. She is threatening to set herself on fire. And third news story is about an announcement from Ethiopian government officials that Ethiopia is considering the use of Eritrean ports. It's not the first time that we are hearing that Ethiopia is interested in using Eritrean ports. Ethiopia, being a landlocked country, is relying heavily on Djibouti's ports, but a leader, top government official spoke a few hours ago, and he once again reiterated Ethiopian position. He spoke about Sudan as well, that Sudan is harboring Tigray fighters. And lastly, viewers, according to government officials in Oromia, dozens of OLA fighters have surrendered. Some pictures are being shared, weapons are being shown of these OLA members. The place where these dozens of OLA fighters surrendered reportedly or allegedly is the same place where a few days ago more than a dozen innocent civilians were killed. Several international news sources covered that incident. Now, in that village, in that town, government says dozens of OLA fighters have surrendered. Firstly, Somalia viewers, we are updating you continuously because several key updates are happening. Some developments, political and regional, are unfolding with the election of new president in Somalia. Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud will he could visit US, viewers, which will be his first official visit. Reportedly, an invitation has been sent by the US government to Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud. And Hassan Sheikh yesterday in his first message appreciated US. He said, US is a reliable partner. So, and we know that US has decided to redeploy its special forces to Somalia, which were withdrawn by Trump government. Then Joe Biden government did not redeploy them during Farmajo government, and now US, with the arrival of Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud, has announced to redeploy its special forces to Somalia, and US is inviting Hassan Sheikh for an official visit. Turkey, meanwhile, has suspended its flights to Mogadishu. The flight suspension is from the 19th of May till the 28th of May. Why did Turkey suspend its flights to Mogadishu? Is it due to the political developments? Turkey says it's due to fuel shortage. It's a bit unusual that Turkey has suspended flights for lack of fuel shortage. It hasn't happened recently that Turkey did something like this. That is why questions are being raised that Turkey, some other countries, they might not be happy with growing influence of the US in Somalia. New Somalia's president seems to be welcoming the US with open arms. US energy exploration companies could also start their work in Somalia. They're interested in Somalia. Somalia have huge reserves of oil and gas, especially in its coastal areas, and some agreements are expected in coming weeks and months. So several things are happening. It seems that US has regained a foothold in the Horn of Africa. US was out of Ethiopia, out of Eritrea for years. Sudan is volatile. Kenya is not as submissive to US as other countries. Djibouti is a small nation, and there is presence of other countries as well in Djibouti. So now US seems to have found a stronghold in Somalia. In neighboring Somaliland as well, US is considering establishing a military base, an air base, and it's considering use of a port as well. It could be a matter of concern for neighboring countries like Ethiopia, like Eritrea, China as well. So this election of Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud will have regional implications. Gradually we'll see, viewers. Meanwhile, Ethiopian ambassador to Somalia today met with newly elected President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud. Abdul Fattah Abdullahi is the name of Ethiopian ambassador to Somalia. You can see his picture. He met with Somalia's President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud. Second news story is about Brigadier General Tefera Mamo, former Chief of Amhara's Special Force. He went missing almost 2 days ago. So far, no news about his whereabouts. Where is he? Addis Ababa police says it does not know where he is. He departed Addis Ababa, then he was not seen anywhere. And reportedly, his last meeting was with Johannes Buyalio. Johannes Buyalio is a Prosperity Party leader from Amhara region who has been very vocal against Ethiopian PM, Amhara politicians, and he was removed from a government position which he was holding, and he could not be re-elected as the member of PP's executive committee. So he is under pressure, Johannes Buyalio. And reportedly, Tefera Mamo held a meeting with Johannes Buyalio at a hotel. He left the hotel in his car and then he went missing. His wife has appeared on some news channels. Manon Halo is her name reportedly. His wife appeared on some news channels wearing a mask. You can see lady's name is Manon Halo. And reportedly in one of her appearances, she threatened to set herself on fire. He said that she feared for the life of her husband, Tefera Mamo, because 2 days have passed and so far no news about the whereabouts of General Tefera Mamo. Who kidnapped him, viewers? Amhara regional government denies. Addis Ababa police denies. Could there be some external elements? Could there be some intelligence officials? But so far, Tefera Mamo is nowhere to be seen. But in Amhara region, people, politicians, groups are starting to protest. If he is not recovered, we could see a problem in the Amhara region. I don't think that people will sit silent there. He has huge following in the Amhara region, viewers. Third news story is about Ethiopian intention to use Eritrean ports. Not the first time that we are hearing that Ethiopia is interested in using Eritrean ports, but once again, Ethiopia reiterated its interest in using Eritrean ports. Demeke Mekonnen presented 9-month performance to Ethiopian House of People Representatives, HOPR, a few hours ago. And there he spoke about Ethiopia-Eritrea relations and Ethiopia-Sudan relations. He firstly said, Ethiopia wants to convert friendly Ethiopia-Eritrea bilateral ties into economic partnership. And that is why Ethiopia is interested in using Eritrean ports, Massawa, Assab. And work is underway, though it has not started so far. We know that last year when PM Abiy traveled to Eritrea with a delegation, back then we heard that the two sides agreed that Ethiopia should start using Eritrean ports. But we have not seen any considerable progress so far. Still, Ethiopia is relying heavily on Djibouti's ports. And to use Eritrean ports, Ethiopia will have to use these ports through Afar, I think. Because this western zone, Western Tigray, Humra Volkai, it's not peaceful, it's not safe. It's still contested. So only route is through Afar region. But so far, we have not seen that Ethiopia has started using these ports for its imports and exports. Most Ethiopia is relying on Djibouti's ports. But Ethiopia will have to find other options as well, because we know that Djibouti is demanding some increase in port fees. And secondly, Ethiopia was interested in using Djibouti's ports for transportation of fuel. But Djibouti demanded 15-year binding agreement with Ethiopia, that for 15 years, Ethiopia will use only Djibouti's ports. So Djibouti is taking advantage of the position that Ethiopia is in. So that is why Ethiopia wants other options as well, like Berber of Somaliland, like Massawa and Assab of Eritrea. Damake confirmed, reiterated that Ethiopia wants to use Massawa and Assab ports. And secondly, he spoke about Sudan-Ethiopia relations. He said that, Sudan was harboring Tigray fighters. They were being trained there, they were being armed there, and they were attacking Ethiopian government forces on Sudan-Ethiopia border. That several fighters in the guise of refugees entered Sudan. Sudan is not doing enough. So this has been Ethiopian government's consistent position, that Sudan is hosting Tigray fighters where they're being trained, armed, and they are involved in attacks on ENDF, on Amhara forces in border areas. Lastly, viewers, we have a new story about Oromo Liberation Army. Some local government officials, they have been seen with dozens of armed persons, and they say these are OLA members. They have surrendered. This claim is being made in North Shoa zone of Oromia region. In North Shoa, there is Varajarso, a town, a village sort of. And their government claims that 190 persons who were OLA members, they have surrendered. And 110 have surrendered in other parts of North Shore. So in entire North Shore, 300 OLA fighters have surrendered. These are the pictures shared by government's communication department in the Oromia region. These pictures allegedly show OLA fighters, their weapons, who have surrendered. Now, we covered an incident in Varajarso in several previous videos, in which more than a dozen innocent civilians were killed. BBC, other news outlets, they also covered, and all said that Ethiopian government forces, ENDF members, they were involved in an attack on civilian population of Varajarso after fighting between ENDF and OLA close to Varajarso. And in that attack on Varajarso, around 17 civilians were apprehended. Later, they were found dead. Now, government says that in the same war so 190 persons have surrendered, where 17 civilians were killed just a few days ago.